This video is done in partnership with Bob's Red Mill. Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out my channel and specifically this video for chicken and dumpling soup. There is nothing more comforting than this, and on this cold day, this is absolutely amazing. The first thing we need to do is poach our chicken. So we're going to make a mirepoix, which is equal parts onion, celery, and carrots. We want to small dice the onions. It's okay to leave the peelings on because we're going to drain this later, so don't worry about it. Go ahead and add it to the bowl along with some small diced celery. Again, the leaves are fine. And of course, some carrots. It's okay to leave the peelings on. It's going to add a lot of flavor. There's a lot of nutrients in those carrots. Next, just simply using the back of a knife, pop some garlic. This will help sort of bring out the aromatics in it. Throw it in a bowl along with some thyme and parsley. And head over to a large pot. We're going to place in a whole roasting chicken. The skin on is totally great. It's going to add a lot of flavor to our stock, so don't worry too much about that. Next, we're going to add in our mirepoix, garlic, thyme leaves, and fresh parsley. And the next thing we want to do is just give our hands a little wash because, well, we just touched raw chicken. So give them a good scrub, and once they are washed up, we want to cover the mirepoix and chicken completely till it's about 2 inches over the chicken filled up with water. Next thing we're going to do is dice our vegetables for the soup because this is perfect timing while the chicken is boiling. So go ahead and small dice up a sweet onion, peel it, cut it crossways, go over top, and then go back crossways to make a beautiful small dice. We are going to add that to a bowl, and the next thing we're going to get started on is our celery. We want to cut it in half because we want all of our celery and vegetables in general to be uniform in shape and size. So once we've done that, we're going to go ahead and small dice it up. As you can see, it's a really nice dice. And of course, the next thing we're going to do are peel some carrots. We're using about 4 carrots. If they're small, maybe use 5. You can see I use 5 there. And in the same manner as the celery, we want to cut it in half and then cut it in half again. So we have nice small carrot dices. And again, put it all together and give it a really nice small dice. That looks absolutely perfect. We're going to add it to a bowl. And similar to the garlic before, we want to cut off the ends, give it a little pop. This will release the clove from the peel. Then we want to finely mince it. We don't want too much bite of that garlic in there. We're going to add it right to that bowl, and since we still have so much time while the chicken is poaching, we are going to make our dumplings. I'm using Bob's Red Mill organic all-purpose flour. I've been using Bob's Red Mill for a few years now. It's just a brand I absolutely trust, and it's just an amazing flour, high in protein, great for literally just about anything, whether it be cookies or biscuits, pizza, dough. I mean, you name it, it's absolutely perfect. So we're going to add 4 cups of the all-purpose flour to a large bowl. Next, we're going to add in some baking powder. This is going to help give some volume to our dumplings. Next, some whole milk, just to obviously loosen it up. We're going to set it to the side, and what we want to do right now is finely slice up some green onions or scallions. This is going to add some really nice flavor to our dumplings. And next, what we want to do is add in some parsley. So in the same manner of the green onions, we want to finely mince that up. And we are going to add that literally right back to the bowl with the milk, baking powder, and Bob's Red Mill all-purpose flour. We're going to season up really well with salt. We want it to taste really well. And we want to give it a nice, good mix using a spoon. If you want to use your hands, fine. You're just going to have to wash them. But we want to get it to the consistency of a really nice dough. And at this point, we're going to set it in the refrigerator until it's ready to cook, which will simply sort of poach right into our soup. At this time, our chicken is done. Takes about an hour or so to poach. So what we're going to do is strain it. I am using a fine mesh chinois strainer, so nothing gets through. If you have a regular strainer, that's totally fine. We just want to not let the carrots, celery, onion, herbs get on through. So make sure you get all those good juices. There's lots of good flavor in there, tons of good stuff in there. Next, we want to remove the meat from the chicken. It is going to be hot, so be a little careful. Just giving you a fair warning. You can use a spoon, a fork, whatever. We want to remove the skin from the chicken, and then using a fork, what we want to do is simply remove the meat from the carcass. Get all the dark meat, all the breast meat, get as much off as you can from the chicken. Next, you can simply discard the chicken, but we do need to cut up the released chicken that we took off a little bit more because there's some pretty big chunks in there. So once you get it to about a medium large dice, which should be just fine for eating, what we want to do is just pop it in a bowl and get it ready to sort of put into our soup, which won't come till after we cook the vegetables. But it is now finally time to cook our soup. So go ahead and go back over to the stove. We're going to add in some butter because we want to sweat our vegetables, and we want to make a roux because we want the soup to be a little bit thicker than what the homemade chicken stock is. Once the butter is melted, add in our onion, celery, carrots, and garlic. And again, we want to sweat these. So think medium, low heat, nothing high unless you want to totally caramelize the vegetables, what you can. But we want to sweat them. It's going to take just a few minutes, maybe 5 to 7 minutes. And next, what we want to do is add in our flour because we are going to make a roux. This is equal parts butter and flour by weight. And of course, don't forget to add in the chicken that we cut up. Lastly, the chicken stock. You're going to have about a half gallon left. No worries, this stuff freezes perfectly, so you can absolutely use it for another recipe. We're going to turn up the heat a little bit while stirring. We want to bring it to a boil. This sort of activates the roux, and you'll see it to start thickening up. It gives it that sort of cream of chicken soup look to it. We're going to add in some hominy, which is going to add a ton of great flavor. And lastly, some peas. And of course, we want to season it very, very well with salt and pepper because we haven't even used it yet up to this point. So be sure to season twice. Season once, taste twice, just to make sure it is to the right consistency. You can see it's nice and thick there. Next, we're going to simply add in our dumplings, about a tablespoon at a time. They take about 5 to 7 minutes to cook. They'll start sort of floating up to the top. You want to sort of move them around as much as you possibly can without annoying it too bad. And they'll start to build in volume and get much bigger and much fluffier thanks to that baking powder and, of course, Bob's Red Mill flour. And at this point, we're finished. We're going to go ahead and start plating up by just adding in some of the soup. And I only made 3 dumplings because, honestly, I only want to serve them at exactly when I cook them, or else they turn to mush. And since it's only me eating this soup, I want 3 dumplings, I'm going to do it then. But if you're serving more people, feel free to do it when you're serving them. So finish it up with parsley, green onions, a little bit of fresh thyme, and of course some Parmesan cheese. That's just the Italian in me. Sorry guys, can't help myself. And that'll do it for our tasty chicken dumpling soup. Of course, let's give it a try here. Hey guys, the soup is finished. Took about 45 minutes once the prep is done. Making the dumplings and the prep and boiling off the chicken, honestly, that's maybe an hour and 15 minutes max, and you can prep everything while the chicken is boiling. It's an incredibly easy recipe, start to finish, maybe 2 hours. It looks amazing, it smells amazing, it's time to get in it. The soup is super creamy. Whoa. Those dumplings are awesome, really nice and light and fluffy. The baking powder kind of helps you do that. Only takes about 5 minutes or so, obviously, to cook the dumplings. So good. It's 1 degree outside. There's literally snow everywhere. This soup is gonna be amazing. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks again to Bob's Red Mill for helping me create this video. Be sure to sub the channel, please, and come back and see all of our videos. I'm gonna try to get up 1 a week. For now, I got a lot of soup to eat. We will catch up with you later.